For context, the old story was my SB left out of the blue and moved city to live with another person. Totally blindsided and shattered. I went no contact, and like you reading, I found Neville. Most people would be baffled at the fact I wanted him back considering the circumstances. Perhaps I have a resistance to change or evolution through my own conditioning. Nevertheless, I wanted him back. The time we had together was the best period of my life. The following few weeks were dark. All I thought about was him. I exhausted all the Instagram accounts, Neville books, and battled with myself daily. However, things started clicking when I began to read Neville from the book. After that, I understood techniques. Looking back on early affirmations and scripting, they had an emphasis on him. He is always thinking of me rather than I am always on his mind. Subtle changes like this painted me in a better light in imagination and began to take him off the pedestal. Sats were challenging for me and I never really felt satisfied, often falling asleep blankly. There was one occasion where I did wake up with the it's done feeling, however. I worked on my self-concept as best I could through inner conversations and visualized myself as the number one constantly. As I persisted, my thought patterns changed and I developed an inner knowing that nobody can compare to me. Progress. After 6 weeks of no movement, I remember this feeling that took over my body. It was euphoric. I surrendered in my knowing that I am the best and let go of my mental grasp I had been holding him in. It was like I gave myself the love I had been desiring. It was within me, dormant the whole time, if that makes sense. That night I got my first phone call, confirming everything I had been telling myself. Nobody can ever compare to me. It's just not the same with anyone else, etc. I had imagined this happening, and now it felt normal. I could have written a success story at this point like many others, but glamorizing a phone call didn't sit well with me. After all, it wasn't my end. I didn't want to jump the gun too early. We agreed to meet for the weekend since he was home. The days we met up were great and satisfied a lot of my unanswered questions. It was overshadowed, however, by the fact that he was going back to this other person, because he now had a job and apartment. After all the work I put in, it was quite devastating when he did. Forgiveness is hard, especially when it appears to be constant. I felt like SHT that I had accepted breadcrumbs and tried as best I could not to let it affect my progress. Throwing myself back into the pit of desperation was the last thing on earth I wanted to do. So, I avoided techniques for a while. I acknowledged the pain I was feeling but never let it take over. I tried, at least. Even if I had a really down day, I would turn it around even for only 2 minutes by hyping myself up and reminding myself who I am and how far I've come. The consoling factor was that I had been told everything I wanted to hear, but the full manifestation evaded me. Now, though the third party in my mind posed no threat, it was almost laughable. When the initial slump had faded, I felt like I could slowly start to live in the end again. I heard from him a few times in between and was asked to come visit him in this other city. I didn't want to make the same mistake again, so I said no and remained in no contact until it was clear that commitment was fully on the table. I carried on living my life and put some focus on seeing other people. I went on a few dates and met some nice people, all whilst knowing our inevitability through imagination. I was so confident that it's not possible to better me, and that I'll always be on his mind, no matter what. I got used to the silence from his behalf and it didn't bother me. I knew my end. I heard from him last week that he was home again and wanted to see me. I thought this time was going to reveal everything. In reality, it was quite underwhelming. Even though his feelings for me were clear, he revealed to me that he had broken up with the third party, but it seemed to be because she had been texting other guys. He seemed upset by this betrayal but said they remain close friends as he doesn't know many people out there. This left me with a sickening feeling in my gut, like that chapter still wasn't closed after all this time and persistence from my end. Especially when I genuinely felt no threat from this person. I had been affirming for months that he would end things because of his love for me. Funny how things work out sometimes. Anyway, he went back again and this thing continues to linger 5 months later. Now I'm at the point where I don't care anymore, which is only a good thing. I still have faith. My mental diet has become mental habit, and I am inevitable no matter the circumstance. And honestly, after seeing him, I low-key realized how I'm in a league above him. It will be interesting to see how it does play out though, even just to settle creeping doubts on my manifestation abilities. It's tough sometimes because internally I felt great about the situation, but when confronted with the external facts it did make me doubt myself. The point of my post isn't to discourage anyone. It's just to provide a real-life experience of someone who dedicated a lot of time and conscious effort into this. In a way, this is maybe therapeutical for me. Even if one person can relate, I'll be super happy. Everything will reveal itself to me when the time is right in the best way possible. I can rest in faith that no matter what, I am deserving of the best and I'm no longer driving myself crazy with techniques. It's done. Keep persisting, or in my case, keep persisting. Then persist some more and a little more for good measure. 2 weeks later, my manifestation is fully in my reality. Proud moment. The persisting has finally paid off. This works. Become indifferent to any obstacles you face. Subscribe for more such videos.